Hey there, just thought I'd just do a little PSA here, a little public service announcement for you all. This beer right here should not be this color, and it should not taste the way it tastes. Yeah, this was a Munich Helles. It should be clear, straw colored, golden, whatever, right? Beautiful looking to see through. This beer here, you probably can't see it so well. It's not so dark. It's cleared because it's been lagered for 3 months, but it is definitely not good and not clear and not the way it should be. Now, why is that? It's because it's oxidized. What is that? Well, quite frankly, this is probably the first time I've experienced it before the first pour of the beer. Now, oxidation, not only does it darken your beer, it also gives you some off flavors. Some describe it as wet cardboard, which is kind of what I'm tasting here a little bit. Right? It's stale, basically. Stale beer. Stale beer. And how could that happen? Well, if you recall back, back at some point a few months ago, I went ahead and brewed a 10-gallon batch of beer, half of which I pressure fermented like I normally do when I do this recipe. I did a video on an 11-day lager last year about this, right? And the other half, I decided to go ahead and go the traditional lagering route. Thought I'd try them both. Well, I had forgotten about the lagering one, and I drank all of the pressure fermented one. So that one's all gone. So I don't have a side-by-side comparison for you now because it's many, many months later. But I didn't want to miss the opportunity to share with you one of the pitfalls of adding too much oxygen or any oxygen into a finished beer and the result you'll get. Now, I've had oxidation a long time ago, and it's probably still some amount there, but most of us probably just drink the beer before you experience the problem. And so getting air into your beer post fermentation, so when you're racking between carboys or fermenters or to the kegs or your bottles, some splashing exposure to the air will get you some oxygen in here, which then starts the distilling process. And how much air you get in is kind of matters as to how soon you'll experience this. So a lot of us out there don't even know we have oxidized beer because it doesn't, the symptoms don't start showing until a month or month and a half later, right? And a lot of us drink through our stash by that point, right? But this time I brewed this thing right out of the gate and lagered it. Now, doing a little deep dive as to the cause of why I have a bad beer is basically I had a carboy that was given to me, I think, and I had a carboy cap that fit well on a different brand or style of carboy that I had, but the one I used, I popped the 5-gallon carboy cap on this thing, and it seemed like it fit right away with the airlock inside the fridge. It turns out, after having set it and forgetting it for a number of months, weeks at least, I opened the fridge to find out that my beer had turned from that nice, beautiful light color to like this it's darker brown appearance to it, and I just knew right away what it was. And it turns out that my carboy cap was loose fitting on there, so the carboy cap would go on, stamp on, and I didn't actually check to see if it rotated in place. And sure enough, when I opened the fridge and checked that thing, and that cap rotated back and forth, then I thought, oh no, air got in to the carboy from under the carboy cap into the beer over the period of, I think, roughly 11, 12 weeks that it was lagering. So that's a drag. That's a real bummer, right? So just a little PSA, beware, be careful. Closed system transfers work great, but that's not the only part of the brewing process you have to be aware of, apparently, especially if you're lagering. Now, the upside is I'm not going to be doing this kind of lagering really anyway. I do a lot of pressure lagering or pressure fermentation for lagers now, and that really works around the problem just fine and dandy. So, but, experimentation, a little trial and error, and I learned my lesson. Make sure you have tight-fitting carboy caps or bungs on your fermenters, or if you use a proprietary one like the Flex Plus or a brew bucket or whatever, they have their own ways of sealing it in there just nice. But just make sure you keep an eye on that air getting in there, because I got burned by it. So yeah, lesson learned. All right. So maybe you learned something here. Maybe you had this problem before, whatever. It's my first time, so thought I'd share it with you. I'm not a perfect brewer by any means. I'm just a guy on TV, or on YouTube at least, right, sharing his experiences. And even I, and many of you as well, have made bad batches of beer unintentionally as a result of our hobby. It is what it is, all right? So if you like what I have to say, give me that thumbs up. And if you're a new viewer and not yet subscribed, consider subscribing. I do home brewing and cooking videos and the like, so all right. But until next time, I'll talk to you later.